Hey everybody, this here is Big Will, and with me I have a friend from next door, Southern Comic Geek. What's going on, man?
Oh man, just living the dream. What about you?
I'm trying to do the same.
Oh, just living the dream. What about you? Uh-oh, hold on a second.
I'm trying to do the same.
There we go.
All
Sorry.
right. So you can actually pop out YouTube and put it over the StreamYard chat, so you can have the correct chat, and then you don't have to have the other video even running. That's what I have here.
Yeah, yeah, that's what had happened.
Yeah. But anyway, so I was in. Hey, CFAP, how you doing, man? Hope you feeling better. But so I was in his chat. He was doing a video. I don't even remember what the video was for. I got in over halfway through it. But he was showing off a couple books that he got and some hair.
It wasn't mine, people, as you can imagine.
Yeah. And he happened to let it drop about, he let it be known on Disco After Dark that the man's going to 7 conventions, which is insane this year. But it's only insane because I wished I could do the same thing. I would love to. But I'm just going to stick with my 2. But one of them that he's going to is, instead of MegaCon, he'll be going to the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, and I'm going to be there too, as well as Two Brothers Comics, someone else in the community, and maybe someone else. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know those guys are all coming. And I thought, well, hey, why don't we talk about what we're planning on doing? Because, I mean, I've never actually got to work with you before. This is the first time we've been on stream together. Yeah. And you're my next door neighbor. You know, I'm in Alabama. You're just over in Mississippi. So we're going to have to do something at some point. So I thought, well, hey, I feel pretty good today. You seem to be just having some fun after work and all that. So I thought, hey, why don't I put a little live stream together and we'll just call it Southern Comic Talk.
Well, TMC is joining us in the chat. What is going on?
Yeah.
Mississippi Reader 666 has joined us as well, so appreciate that.
Yeah.
Big Will, you were talking about the convention. So I've already been to one. I went to one in January.
Which one was that? Was that the New Orleans one or the Louisiana one?
Yeah, so it was in Wizard World, which, whatever. But I mean, Steranko and Kirkham were there, and I got them both to do some stuff for me. So I've already been to that one. Unfortunately, there's a couple that got scratched off the list just because of scheduling. Life happens. But yeah, I do got quite a few to go to, and this is just through June. So if last year is any indication,
hold up. You got 7 to go to, and that's just through June?
Right.
Okay, continue.
Yeah. So my plan is to go to at least one a month. And so sometimes, like in June, there's actually 3. And when I talk about cons, I'm not talking about the size of MegaCon. Obviously with this name, it's a huge con. I did plan to go to C2E2, but that did not work out. And so I go to these smaller, mid-sized cons. So there's more comics, less cosplay, more time to chit chat, look up some books, dive head first into some loan boxes and get a lot of signatures, which is, some of the stuff that I'm doing right now. It does limit me as far as who I might see, because some of the bigger names are not going to come to the smaller places. I'll save that for another day, but a lot funner. The cost of entry, the barrier of entry is not as large. And a lot of these I'm able to drive to, which is if I've got to fly somewhere, that takes away from comic book money, right? Unless I can figure it up into work, which is how I did GalaxyCon last year. And so that's me. And there's one that's going to be in Jackson, Mississippi, so just an hour from me in June. The one in Huntsville, there's one in Lafayette, which is just 3 hours away from me. I mentioned the one in Tupelo next weekend. So I'll drive a lot of these places, and a lot of times my wife and the younger set of kids will tag along, and they just wander around and like to get out. And I'd stay there all day for all they care. So it works out great.
So for Huntsville, is it you and the family, or just you?
More than likely, it will be my wife and kids. Now, when I say kids, I have six. These are the younger set, the ones that are still a little needy. So, and then probably the 13-year-old to keep him out of trouble. But the younger three. Since we talking, do they charge a lot for the con exclusive books? Well, some of the places do. Some of it's just the cost of entry.
Well, I think at the convention though, they usually give them away, or you buy them like regular price, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to
Memphis Comic. Right. Yeah. The Memphis Comic Expo that I went to last year, the giveaway that I did for 200 subs was a Memphis Comic Expo exclusive. I got that because I had paid for the price of the ticket. And I had gotten Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman to sign it at a different con. Memphis is another one, big one that is not too far from you, Big Will.
Oh yeah, that one's not far. I find Chris Claremont seems to always be in Memphis.
That's where I met him last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I met him for the first time in Huntsville, and he's coming back this year. So I'll say hey again. But I try to stick to just 2 a year because cost and some other things. So I go to the one that's near me, which is Huntsville.
Right.
And I like to go to a bigger one. So I go to Dragon Con every year. It's in September.
It's in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's the one in Atlanta. So if you want to do one a month, that'd be a definite nice one to go to for September, because it's 100,000 people convention. It's a big one. It's split up amongst 5 hotels. Not that many books, but you will find some books there. But the signing opportunities you will have and the celebrity signing opportunities is just amazing. They have a ton of people.
Yeah, you had talked to it was some stream I was watching you on that you were mentioning that you might go to Heroes Con.
Yeah, for next year, I don't know if it's going to be a toss-up. I'll try to either go to MegaCon, or I might try to go to Heroes Con, because out of the conventions, the biggest conventions that you can go to, that I can go to and drive to, are C2E2, MegaCon, Heroes, and Dragon Con. And that's pretty much it as far as the very large conventions. And I don't really like the idea of going to Chicago just because it's Chicago.
Yeah.
So I've been to Orlando before. That's still in the South. I'm comfortable, in my area. I'm sure you are too. And Atlanta, I'm comfortable there. It's still the South, but not that great on the books. And then Heroes Con is, everyone who goes to Heroes Con says it's amazing. They have Neil Adams there just about every year, and I've never heard anything really bad about it. It's a good price, and a lot of people are there. So that might be the one I go to. I don't know yet. Of course, the great appeal of MegaCon is all the content creators that are there, but it's not that far from Florida to, Charlotte either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? Maybe we can get everybody at Heroes Con, because I think that's the better con as far as books and people, but I've never actually been, so I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard, like you, I've heard a lot of good stuff about Heroes Con. Steranko, I think mentioned before that Steranko had gave it, 2 thumbs up, because I had shared with him why I go to cons, right? I like to see the creators, talk to the creators, and dive neck deep into long boxes. And he goes, well, if that's the case, then that's the one you need to go to. So, some good words there. Hang with us, Yanks.
Yeah, I think I need to explain myself. Okay, it's first off, yes, the rest of you aren't as polite and respectful as the South, but it's just that I know the South. I can dress for the South. I can talk, and I don't have to worry. No one's going to just start laughing. You know, I went to Indianapolis one year, and my mom was mad at people in the hospital, and she was, trying to tell them what for, but they started laughing because of her Southern accent. And I don't have to worry about that if I'm going to Atlanta, Mississippi, or somewhere in Florida or Tennessee. So, I'm more comfortable down there. Excuse me for saying that, but I am. Most of you city boys would probably be more comfortable in the city than out here on the farm. You hear a cow bellow or something like that, you probably won't be able to get some sleep. But you're the gunshots, so whatever.
Yeah. A truck backfires and somebody thinks it's a gun, and I know we're stereotyping everybody and fitting people in broad small boxes, but I think Will's point is you're comfortable around the people that you're familiar with. One of the great things about the comic book community that I found in my ramblings is that regardless whether you're from the North or the South, you can find that you have more in common than you have different. And so, when I was in Louisville last year, I just talked it up with a whole bunch of people that had different accents than me. And this year, I'm going to one of the cons that I'm going to is the one that Bueller has been advertising, and I always forget the name of it. Somebody in the chat probably can correct me. Maybe Sleepy Reader 56.
Rose City or Emerald City Comic Con.
That's what I would have liked to gone to that one. I've got something going on that week, but it's the one that's south of Seattle. It's about an hour south of Seattle, and Kevin Eastman and a lot Scott Snyder is going to be there. A lot of big names are going to be at that one.
Isn't that Rose City?
It might be. It might be. Somebody in the chat maybe can correct.
Chad, if you know, just let us know.
But anyway, it's going to be a big one. And the way I'm kind of rationalizing that one, besides the creator list and the price of entry, is that I have family in Seattle or north of Seattle. So basically I can go up there and, chillax and call it a family getaway. So that's kind of the deal there. But yeah, it's busy, and but there's smaller cons, and so seven sounds overwhelming. But I might go there and get a couple of cigs and buy 2 or 3 books. I've had to refine my collecting, as it were, like you saw earlier on the video that I was on. And I was talking about that, there's just so many dollars in the comic book fund. And so what's important to me, what do I want to collect? Am I just okay with reading it, or do I want to read and collect it? So that's what I've kind of had to answer for myself. And everybody does, I don't think anybody here is like the government. We can't print money. It's illegal for us. That for them, that's how they operate.
Yeah.
But so you live like east of Huntsville, or you live in Decatur?
South of Huntsville. But you had mentioned, signings and all that. Mm-hmm. What specifically for the Huntsville convention, since that's the one we're both going to, mm-hmm. What is your attack plan for signatures? Do you even have a plan for signatures? Are you going to try and look for books? What's your main thing? Because for those of you that don't know, there's 3 main big people as far as comic books go. They have more than that, but the main ones are Chris Claremont, Mark Waid, and Jim Starlin. So what's your signature plan?
So what I do on con prep, as it were, like a couple of weeks before the con, I'll go on my the internet website and see who they're going to have there, and then I'll go on CLZ and I'll pull up between my want and my current haves and see, okay, which ones do I got of these creators that are going to be there? Which Claremont's easy to identify. Basically you can say anything X-Men, right?
Yeah.
But some of the other ones that might be less known, like some of the inkers and some of these conventions, you don't don't readily know. But then when you look at their work, you go, oh man, I like their work. I didn't really know.
Yeah, Butler's like that. Stephen Butler. I never heard of the man. Didn't know anything he did. But yeah, he's responsible for the Scarlet Spider.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing. So if you like that, like D. Runk would love him.
Well, D. Runk needs to hit me up because I'm going to see Stephen Butler. He's going to be at the Huntsville Con too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's there as well.
So he's going to be at the Jackson Con. He lives in Hattiesburg.
Yeah, he's a Southern.
So he's going to be at the Jackson, Mississippi Con, and then he's also going to be at Southern guy too. But yeah, so he's also going to be at Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm going to get him to do a Scarlet Spider sketch cover for me. I've heard he's fairly reasonable, compared to people that have been around as long as him. So I'm going to pick that up from him, and I've got the first Scarlet Spider and stuff like that. But yeah, so I pull up CLZ, and then that's how I do it, and then I get them listed. Now, there might be some that are on the want list that I keep up with on CLZ. And if that's the case, then I start trying to, snipe some of those books along the way. Like I might be at one convention, 2 weeks before this one. And so I say, oh, there it is. And that's when I pick it up. And that's how I work it. And so Claremont, I got a bunch of books signed from him last time, but I like double signed and triple signed books. So, so I've gotten some stuff since signed by other people that if I get Claremont signed too, put a second or third signature on it. So I'm going to do some of that. And Mark Wade, I got a couple of things for him. I've already seen Stephen Butler. So probably Huntsville, probably, and Jason David Frank, shout out to Two Brothers Comics, right? So he's going to be.
You bought that from John's Comics with Kids, that 44, the White Ranger. Did you buy that specifically for this convention, or just because you wanted it?
I wanted it, but then I said, there's a second reason to buy it. So yeah, I got that, and I've got a pop figure of the Green Ranger.
Oh, yeah. Two Brothers just popped in.
They must have heard us talking about him. But yeah,
Two Brothers, if you want, this is Southern Comic Talk. If you want to join me and the geek here, feel free. Just let me know in the chat.
So yeah, that I'm going to see him in Lafayette. So I'm going to already have that done out of the way. So probably my method of attack after I get Claremont and a couple of Wade signatures is going to be. So have you been to this show before? Is it a lot of comics there for me to scout?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of comics. There's one vendor in particular who has one area where he's got a whole circle usually, or if he's on a wall, a whole big thing where he's blocked himself off, and it's nothing but comics, and you can find some deals. And of course, he has a wall too, and yeah, there's multiple vendors there for comics. I know Barbarian Kung Fu went there and got a ton of books for like $2 each. And I'm talking decent books too, like the first Binary. I forget what X book that is, but he got a bunch of first appearances and a lot of just higher value books for only $2. So he had a whole stack of stuff when he went. But Arthur Sidem was there, and that's the only reason that he actually came. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, I've been there. I've been there every year from their second year to now. And yes, they do have a lot of books as far as compared to the other stuff. They have more books than Dragon Con. Let me put it that way. Okay.
Well, in Dragon Con, I would be interested in going in, other than the fact that I will be on a company trip to Israel that week, and don't think I'm going to be able to make that one. But there's also a show down in Birmingham on June the 6th.
You mean the Magic City?
No, it's the same people that put the one on in Mississippi, that put it on in Louisiana. They put one on in each state.
Every time I've checked Birmingham, it's been kind of a sucky looking show. I don't know. I mean, I look into it for sure, but you're probably not going to want to go based on all the times I've looked.
Yeah, I talked to one of the comic book folks up in Louisville last year, and we got to talking. He found out where I was from, and he said, "Look, look into that because I know we got a show in Jackson, and somebody's car. So you got a show in Jackson, and then also kind of all along the South, and so try to hit it up. And the other thing I like to do on cons is hit up the local shops in the areas that they're in. So as I'm thinking out loud more about this, more than likely what I'll do is I will the con is Saturday and Sunday.
And there's only 2 shops really of note in the area, so it'll be really easy to go to the shops in the area. There's only 2.
So probably what I'll do is I'll probably come up there like Wednesday and be there Wednesday through Saturday. I'll leave sometime late Saturday night or something, and I'll probably just classify it as a work deal, and that way they'll pay for my hotel stay and all that kind of stuff. and I hope nobody from work is watching this. But yeah, so that's probably what I'll do, and I'll just hit up some shops. Now, one of the things that JB was talking about last night at MegaCon, that a lot of the YouTubers are going to be getting together and be doing something. And if I'm not mistaken, maybe it was you or Dustin was talking about maybe doing something like that at this one.
Yeah, maybe doing something. Yeah, I know it. I know the 2 brothers are interested. There's another guy who's coming who might be interested, and yeah, I would want to do something. I mean, we're YouTubers. We got to do something. It's like the law.
Exactly.
But yeah, if you're there Wednesday, that gives you Thursday and Friday to look around and stuff. See you, Gray Man. But yeah, so it's just easy. There's a place called Haven, and that's the one 2 brothers goes to. You can see him in the chat saying, "Tell him I sent you." And then the other one is the Deep, and those are the only 2 really in the area that are of any count, really. I mean, there's another one in Decatur, but it's not really it's more of a magic shop. Comics. So just Haven and the Deep, and that's pretty much it.
Now, doesn't Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers, didn't he work?
He works at the Deep.
Okay.
So
is he the other one that you keep talking about?
If you go to the Deep, you're more than likely you're going to probably run into Robbie.
Okay, cool.
But yeah. As for me, I wrote it down here. I have got Wolverine Limited Series, the 1 through 4. I sent it to Erod for pressing. I've never used someone as a presser before, but with how screwed up CCS is treating me, I'm tired of it. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to try Erod, and if I like his stuff, I'll use him. But anyway, I got the 1 through 4 series for Claremont to sign. He's pressing that. And I also have Wolverine number 10, their first Wolverine Sabretooth fight. That one's getting pressed. And X-Men 141, the Days of Future Past, that famous cover.
Yep.
That one's getting pressed at Erod. Now I'm bringing all those for Chris Claremont to sign. And then I have Kingdom Come is one of my favorite graphic novels because first off, it's a great read. Yeah. And Alex Ross is my favorite artist. So I've got a trade that's beat to crap, and then the actual issues, the 1 through 4, all for Mark Waid to sign.
So did he write that?
Do what?
Did he write Kingdom Come?
Yeah, dude, he wrote Kingdom Come.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give me the list now.
And you might have confused him with Mark Miller. Because Mark Miller or Millar did Red Sun.
Well, and so like the Marvels, kind of version-esque of that. Alex Ross did that, but then Kruger did the writing on that one.
Yeah.
So, which I've met him. He was a really nice guy. I met him down there at in New Orleans back in January.
Yeah, but as of right now, that's all I got. I do want to see what kind of Starlin stuff I can get, and except for the Kingdom Come stuff, all this that I'm doing and getting signed, it's to sell later.
Oh, okay.
I love selling comics because it's fun and I enjoy it, and it also funds the stuff that I keep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if I'm getting, I hate signatures on my personal book. So if I'm getting it signed, it's going to be for sale at some point. So all that Wolverine stuff, that's for sale. The Kingdom Come, I'm keeping. That's for me. I don't really want signatures on books, but since that's one that I know I'll never get rid of, and I love it so much, I will get that one signed. And then if I can get some good Starlin stuff in the deal, get him to sign that, and then of course that would be sold. And this is the first year that not only is CBCS there, like the actual company, CBCS sends representatives there, but for the first time ever, CGC is also there as far as a vendor or comic shop that's a facilitator for them, not actual CGC, but one of their facilitators that represents them will be there. So you'll be able to do either or for the getting witnesses, getting signature witnessed, and then sending them off and slabbing them. You can choose CGC or CBCS, and I have a few things that will definitely be CGC, and then I have a couple things that might be CBCS.
Cool. Yeah, I got Starlin to sign my Infinity Gauntlet. Not only Infinity Gauntlet 1, but the physical Infinity Gauntlet. And
like one of those.
Yeah, you ain't never seen it?
Yeah, I have seen it. I'm trying to think of the name. They sold them at like GameStop and places.
Well, I got mine on the cheap at
you put your hand in, and it's got a lever you pull for each finger, and it lights up. Yeah, that one. You got to sign.
He signed this.
That is genius, man.
So it's on my mantle because I have a fireplace in my office. All my swords and weapons, and up there is the Infinity Gauntlet. It's kind of like the Odin Infinity Gauntlet, right? It's just fake, but he put it on and took a picture with it, and he said, "Man, I got to take this off. This is bringing out the worser side of me," because he felt kind of bad or something, like he was fixing to snap the world out. But yeah, so he was fun. But I got him to sign that. The Infinity Gauntlet or something. Oh, the age old Captain Marvel with Captain Marvel flying on the front, and I think John Romita did the head on that art. But he was fun. I probably dig up some. I didn't realize he was going to be there. I'll probably dig some more stuff up for him to sign.
But hey, superhero reviews. Hey, stay puff. Glad you guys can make it. But yeah, man, this one's. I have a feeling this one's going to be pretty good because I'm going in now with a different mindset. Before I would just look at wall books, and that's pretty much it, and try and get some things signed. But ever since I started, selling books, and now that I have my own channel I can do stuff with, like auctions and stuff, but I also go on with JB and do his Buy It Now stuff, I'm going in with the look of, okay, what can I flip? What's a good thing to buy? And I'll be going in with a different mindset. So I'll be looking through the long boxes. I mean, I'll look at the walls too. Because if you get a good deal, you gotta get it, man.
Sure.
But
so you must have an extra Wolverine 1 because I know typically you don't sell your Wolverine stuff, but
well, I'm actually looking for one, but I want it to be a 9.8. I had a 9.6 and I sold it and use the money for something else. I want a 9.8. If I can afford it, or if it's not too expensive that I should be able to afford it, every book in my collection I want to be a 9.8 because my personal collection is less than 20 books, and that's it. That's all I need.
Wow. You're a lot more disciplined than I am.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously my Hulk 180, 181, I doubt those are ever going to get to be 9.8. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not looking for 9.8s in those. But New Mutants 98, the other Wolverine #1s, like the first ongoing series, the one from 2003, those, yeah, I'm going to do a 9.8. All my Power Girl #1s, 9.8, because it's not that expensive in a 9.8. Or in the case of the New Mutants 98, it is expensive, but I have a 9.6, and that'll take care of half the price of the 9.8 right there. So I can sell the 9.6 and get a little bit of money, put them together, and get my 9.8. So that's an example of a book. It's under $300 right now. I can probably get one in a 9.8. So, yeah, I want a 9.8.
Yeah, that set right there is the one that I got Claremont to sign for the books. I got him to sign in Memphis last year. And fortunately, I did not press them. I got such a fantastic deal on the books themselves. I got Wolverine 1 through 4 and an extra #1, all for $50 shipped.
Wow.
So there's this website called hipcomic.com. And check, I don't know if you've ever checked it out before.
Never heard.
So occasionally you'll find some really good deals. There are individuals on there selling. And I don't know how their fees compare to eBay's, but I've never sold anything, just bought stuff. And this guy, I sent him the offer and he took it. And I sold the extra Wolverine 1 on eBay for $30. So, it pretty much funded the whole set. And I did not press them. So the Wolverine 1 came back a 7.0. I think it could easily be an 8 with a good press. Just looking at what was wrong with it. And that was kind of a disappointment but this was like the first sets of stuff I'd ever CGC'd. And I was already spending so much on getting the books slabbed. I did not want to also pay to have them deal. And I still wouldn't have it, because there's one book that from that Memphis Comic Expo that CGC, or their sister company, still has because it had to be pressed.
Oh, the CCS dilemma.
I just got the phone on it.
You did a little bit of a rant on your PGX hair book. Let me do a little bit of a rant on CCS, okay?
Bring it on.
All right. You go to their website, CGC's website, right now. I'm not telling you to. I'm saying if you were to. And you go to CCS and you look down at how long will it take for fast track. It says 52 business days. So they do business days, so their week is only 5 days, the Monday through Friday. So you figure, okay, 52 business days. Well, 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 is 10. So 10 weeks and 2 days is basically what they're saying it's going to take for fast track, right?
Okay.
First off, that's way too long for fast track,
I would think.
But if that's how long it takes, hey, you told me, it's my choice whether to do that or not.
Sure.
I submitted some books to be pressed, and they received them on October 29th. I have yet to have the books moved from CCS to grading. Let's do the math on that. Let's say they take off a week for New Year's, a week for Christmas, and a week for Thanksgiving. Okay, November, 5, 10, 15. December, 5, 10, 15. January, 5, 10, 15. February, we're in, one more day, and that's the entire month, 4 weeks. 5, 10, 15, 20. I'm almost in the 15th week on fast track, and my books still haven't moved from CCS to CGC.
You're not giving me a lot of hope, Big Will, because I'm pretty much in the same ship as you are.
There is no hope. The hope has died. Because let me tell you, they were at 50 days last month. They finally moved it to 52 days. But yet they quoted me when I called. I said, hey, how long is this going to take? And I'm getting pretty angry here. The man said, we're thinking 18 weeks for fast track. 18 weeks. Ah!
Yikes.
It is.
Well, and yeah, and that's they told me when I called them today, because that one book, and it sounds like my book went right after yours. So you're giving me less hope, Big Will. And I didn't pay for fast track. And they told me that it's been taking 18 weeks. And I said, oh my goodness, 18 weeks. I said, look, CGC, one business person to another business person. You've got it. You're killing it, right? You're the top of the game, right? So why don't you just up your game on the pressing side and put all these other guys out of business? That's all you got to do. If you press faster and if you will verify signatures without having to personally witness it, boom, it's done. That's the only thing the other one's got going for them. I said, why don't you just do that? Then you got a monopoly. They're like, yes, sir, I understand. I go, well, okay, I'm not talking to the person who makes decisions. I understand. I'm talking to somebody on the phone, but yikes.
Yeah, I hope they don't ever do that, because competition's good for the market.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, it's good for them. And
well, yeah, I mean, you're right. For if we were them, well, heck yeah. You want to the enemy is the competition, and he must be destroyed. That's how you have to look at it in business, you know.
Oh.
But as far as just us as a third party, it's better to have competition. But yeah, man, that's unreal. All they got to do is get, you know, a few more presses and a couple more people work there. Boom, you're good to go.
I mean, you don't want to staff for your busiest times, because then you have to lay people off during the slow times. I understand that. But dadgum, how much they got the market, man. They got the market.
Yeah.
And all they got to do is, you know, like you said, buy a couple more presses, hire one person and put one more person in the assembly line.
Yeah.
How much are you really paying those people?
Yeah. I mean, if it's freaking comic book pressing, pay them $10 an hour. They will love you. You know, you don't need to pay someone $50,000 a year. And for those of you in the big cities up north, that's a lot of money down here in the South, just so you know. So, yeah. I mean, they'll have to pay somebody, you know, a lot of money, you know, as long as they know the job and can do the job. You know, $10, $15 an hour would be awesome. So I don't understand, if they can do with that, why they haven't got more people yet. Mm-hmm. And the lady, I've been calling multiple times because I'm angry about it. The last 2 times, the lady that I talked to said, I'll send a note to make them rush it. I'm like, well, it was fast track, so okay. You're going to rush it now?
Thanks.
And then the next day, same thing. They said they'll do that. And then they were trying to tell me that we're looking to get more presses and maybe hire some more people. And I'm thinking to myself, you're just now looking at that? You know, there's a thing called projected sales. Mm-hmm. Projected, you know, you can project, you know, if you've been growing. So they should have known ahead of time, and they should be installing them puppies last month, you know, extra presses and stuff. So I don't know what the heck they're doing. And well, I mean, Comic Tom's doing the thing at C2E2 with CGC, and they got all their best grading people in C2E2. They're not even at the place.
Well, and talking about that, think about that. So they're able to grade it on site.
Oh, good Lord.
Minimum wage. Yeah, I know, right?
It's $7.25 here, and it could be lower in Mississippi. It probably would be, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, it would be. So yeah, but how do they get through that stuff at C2E2 and get it through press and going on?
Well, I don't know if they offer pressing. I don't know if they offer pressing, but
yeah, but they still gotta go through
don't,
the book and everything.
if they don't, your question still is valid. How are they doing that? You know, when Comic Tom first started, they did I don't know if you saw it, but he and Russ started talking about the Emerald City Comic Con, how CGC was grading books there, and they were seeing multiple tens come out of that convention, and they're like, I don't see how that's even possible. I mean, they had some. I think it was titled like conspiracy or something.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if he's just being nice now or if they've unveiled the curtain or something, but someone still needs to dig in a little bit there because I think they're complacent is their problem. They're the top. They've been the top for 20 years. I think that's what it is. And yeah, I know what you mean, Kachun. I was just making a point to where that they could have solved the problem if they wanted to. But yeah, I see.
Yeah, I mean, it's not $100,000 a year job. Now $10 an hour might not be the answer. It's not 100,000 a year. So
he'll do it for 13 an hour. 15's a pay raise.
yeah, well, exactly. And you give them a bunch of beater comics to try it out on, and that way they don't have to mess somebody else's up.
Hey, quick poll. Gas right now over here is $2.09. What you got?
$2.15.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, man. So yeah, I am done with CGC. Needs to upgrade their service. Yeah, they should have a long time ago. I agree with you, BLC. But yeah, man, so I am never using CCS again. I can tell you that right now. I've never heard anything bad aside from how long it takes. I've never heard anything bad from CBCS's pressing, so I would feel okay using it. And that's them pressing. It's not another company that they just house. It's actual CBCS does the pressing. And if Erod does my books good and I like his service, well, I'll use him because he's even cheaper and he's a sync. That's all he does. I mean, he doesn't grade books or anything. He just presses, and I'll get them back, in 2 weeks rather than 8 or 10.
Yeah. So how much does he charging you?
He has just a pre and post 1978, I think, or maybe pre and post 75. But anyway, the pre is 15 and the post is $10 a book.
Okay. Yeah, definitely reasonable, especially if you can get them back in a reasonable amount of time.
These books should be back around 2 weeks. Should be how long? Around. So let's say he's off by a week. 3 weeks, I didn't have to pay extra. That's amazing.
Well, what it means for me and I guess everybody else that we just have to, I guess, speak with our wallets and use other people for pressing. And eventually CGC says, well, I'm not going to, we're losing money on pressing because we can't get them back in enough time. They'll either speed it up or cut the service out altogether. But a lot of times I think it's because we wait to the last minute. They should give you a discount.
That would make them want to do it fast. That would solve the problem right there. If they did that, the bosses would, get it done faster, boys, and that would create incentives. But they haven't. So I mean,
yeah, ding dong, get the door. It's CGC. That's the way it should be. But yeah.
Didn't mean to interrupt you were on something there. Go continue.
Well, I mean, you derailed my train of thought,
You were talking about what we're going to have to do is start using other pressers and
thinking ahead, instead of going, to the show itself, which is not going to be good for people at shows, because if I buy a book and it needs pressing, then what if I want to get that gold label? Right. So I'm going to have to go, okay, I'm either going to have to use their services. And I think that's personally, I think that's one of the reasons why CGC says we're not going to validate anything except what we personally see, because they know that when you buy books and you haven't thought it through, you get something that needs pressing, you want that gold label, you're going to use our pressing service. And it doesn't matter how much it sucks, you're going to use it.
Yeah, well, that and it also makes them have this air of respectability with, if it's a CGC Gold label, you know it's good to go.
Yeah.
So if you crack a book out and you can say it was a CGC Gold label, people are like, oh, okay, well, it's good.
So here's the story, and I'm not going to tell you what con it was at, and I'm not going to tell you who the facilitator was because I don't want to incriminate the guilty. But I will tell you this: that
you you don't want to incriminate the guilty. Now, the innocent people will incriminate them all the time.
no, boss, it doesn't matter. But so I go to a con and I'm wanting to get books yellow labeled. I go up to the CGC table and I tell them, what do I need to do? And they say, okay, well, you just need to tell us which ones you're going to be at and we'll follow you around. Times get busy. There's only 2 of them working the booth. They're all over the place. I go and get SIG books done. They saw some of them and some of them they didn't. But guess what? They signed off on every one of them. Okay. So I know for a fact, because that's me personally, that they didn't witness those signatures. And yet I got a gold label over there on that wall. So, and grading and
it's reasonable that, I mean, they knew you were going there. You know, why would you not? I mean, it's reasonable, but yeah, I see what you're saying. But hey, that ain't nothing. One year here at the Huntsville convention, the CBCS guy, his booth was, say, right here, and Chris Claremont was signing right here. So you see what I'm saying there? One was here, the other was here. So he's over here, I'm over here, and I go to him, I'm like, hey, man, can you I'm going to do this book over here. I want you to authenticate it. He goes, okay. Well, he forgets to get up or anything, so he just eyes it. I go get it signed, bring it over. I'm like, is this good? I mean, you wasn't over there. He's like, I'd be all right. Just signed it. Hey, it's good. Of course, I mean, it was good. I got him to sign the book, but
right.
Yeah,
but I mean, people can pull, shenanigans and stuff like that. And I understand your point, but it's just like with any grading, it's all subjective. And every grading company has their pluses. I mentioned in the video that I was doing earlier that I'm going to try out the EGC.
Yeah.
I really like those. Did you see those books that Biggie got from D-Rump?
Oh, the DGC label?
Yeah.
He doesn't grade those, though. He just makes a cool label.
Yeah. Well, and so similarly, EGC or EGS, they do, different colored labels, and so I think it looks, really good. I actually got that Steranko, that green and yellow Polaris that I thought about sending to CGC purposely to get the green label just because it fits with the cover. But, the green label can kind of be the green label of death. So I think I'm going to send that to EGS and find that out. You going to send the link to Big Lion Cat?
Yep. I just did BLC, hopefully. But yeah, now here, as far as the authentication goes, I understand why CGC doesn't do it, but I'm glad CBCS does, especially now that they're with Beckett, who's got experience in it. And a lot of people complain when I tell them, for 2 signatures, it's 40. Good Lord, who keeps? Micah, will you stop texting me? He's in the chat. Micah the Great. I want tacos. He's sending me messages on my phone. Tacos. I see you, and I want tacos. You're a goober. Stop it. Anyway, the phone's on mute, so So anyway, as I was saying, but it makes sense that it's $40 for 2 signatures. It's $25 for the first. And ABLC, let me get this thing going. It's $25 for the first signature, and that makes sense because they have to have a light. They have to make sure it's an actual ink on paper, live signature, and then you got to look at and compare. You know, I mean, some of these places, like, you know, just have an app or something and they look. You got to do more than that. So I
Right.
understand why it's, you know, $25 and then 15 for each additional. I'm okay with that. But I'm glad they have that because there are so many conventions where there's no one there.
Mhm.
Dragon Con, for as big as it is, CGC isn't there in any capacity, and CBCS isn't there in any capacity. And what if you have a signature from someone who died before CGC was even created, like Jack Kirby?
Right.
You know, hey BLC, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you guys doing? Southern Comic Geek, what's going on, brother?
What's going on with you?
Doing good, man. I just got home listening to what you're talking about.
We do.
Comic Con stuff. What happened? What is that?
No, I was just saying we were just ranting on CGC a little bit.
Yeah. You know, my books that I have graded, that's all CGCs. The only company I deal with. Again, I don't say nothing bad about the other one because I never used them, so I just leave it the way it is. But yeah, I mean, I've been dealing with CGC for years, and to me, they just grown out of hand, and they haven't adapted to the business coming in. The cotton, you know, the way it hit, they just had a Tom McFarlane. If you've seen the video, you've seen how many books that came in. I mean, that just slowed probably everybody else's order.
Right.
I mean, they have to improve. They have to adapt. They either have to open up another building, have to do something because they're getting overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Okay. And the grading, that's the reason why it's slipping. The books are coming in, you know, tons, and they can't keep up. They can't.
Yeah. Now you talk that Todd McFarlane thing. They guaranteed pressing, and then they wind up having to push it back by a few weeks. But you got to think, in order to guarantee all those, even pushing them back a few weeks, that means my order that was already there got even further behind.
All right.
Yep.
So it's.
I typed in the chat. I don't know if you saw it. I was at New York Comic Con, which was in October, and I was getting a book signed, and I messed it up by putting it back in the bag. That was my fault. I was just getting to see. Even the artist was screaming at me, like, you know, pay attention to what you was doing. It was like a novice type thing that I do. So I had no choice but to use their pressing for the first time. And right now, my book is still sitting there in receiving, has not moved. And it's going to be close to tomorrow. Will make 4 months.
Oh, wow.
I called them up and I told them.
You heard me, October 29th.
Yeah. So, you know, they told me that, you know, it just takes long again, but the pressing is not in the same building as the grading. The pressing is in a different building. So imagine all the pressing that's going on. Now, again, Tom McFarlane just came through. They guarantee pressing. What do you think happened? They don't have enough machines to carry everybody. So what are they going to do? Put everybody behind, put all that Tom McFarlane up front, and who knows? My book's still sitting there somewhere. Who the hell knows? Again, you know, but, you know, that's why I'd rather get my books pressed before I send them in, because going through their pressing, takes even way longer than just sending your books in.
Yeah,
okay.
Just a Rican popped in. Hey man, how's it going? And that's something I was going to say, BLC, is we can't. I don't think we no longer have if we're going to get something signed and graded, we no longer have the option of showing up at the convention, seeing, oh, Stephen Butler's here. I didn't know that. Let me go grab a Scarlet Spider book from somebody, and then I'll get it pressed and signed. You know, we can't be spur of the moment anymore. If we're going to go there and get stuff signed, we now have to do like I'm doing, where I got my Wolverine books and my X-Men book for Claremont. I got them over to Erod. He's pressing them. I want to get those back, and then I'm going to take them to where all I got to do is sign them, send them out, and just get them signed and leave them there and do it that way. We can't spur of the moment anymore. I would think. And if you do want to do that, you know, you screwed. I mean, unless you're okay with CBCS's authentication, but then you're going to be paying an extra $20 on the first signature instead of $5. You know.
Yeah, like I said, I learned my lesson when I go through CGC now. When I go there, I already have what my books are going to sign. I got them pressed already. I'm ready to go. And on top of that, I already had picked up a form from the last time I was there. I picked up a few forms. So I fill out my form here. My forms are filled out the time I get there. I go straight, get a witness, boom, I go running, get my signed books, this, that, and everything, and then go hand it in. So I bypass all that. You can do that. Just go to CGC booth, say, listen, I just want to pick up a couple extra forms, take them home with you, fill them out, take your time, fill them out correctly, comes out all nice and neat. And then just when you're ready to go, you got everything ready to go. You got your book, you got up with the form, you're ready to rock and roll. You know, that, believe it or not, that saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
From trying to get to the booth to get to the front to sign it, you go straight online. Hey, I'm done. I'm ready. Give me a witness. Boom. They put you right on the line. Next witness, you go.
Yeah. And another thing is, if you don't want to spend a lot of money on memberships and stuff, CBCS has a free one where you can still send something in, print it off on your computer, and you can bring your form and drop it off there, or you can mail it yourself. And CGC has a $25 tier that does everything the tier that all the rest of us have, the $150 tier, except it's a few percent more expensive instead of being discounted, and you don't get the credit, and that's it. But it's only $25, so you're good to go. And you have full access, the same as the premium membership on their website. Pretty easy.
That I didn't know if you go there, but like I said, I usually send my own books. If I was getting signed, I directly, print it out here, send it from here, and I get my discount that I have on it, 1, 2, 3. But at the Comic Cons, yeah, and that's not the worst part of the CGC process. It's once you get your book signed to get out, there where it's pure hell. Because the reason why is not because CGC don't have enough people. They do. To the cons I've been to, there's a lot of people. The problem is people are coming off the street, bringing half cases of books, turning them there, and that's what's taking a long time, because that's the checkout point. That's where you're handing in the books, and that's why it takes so long, because the line for that is ridiculous, and a lot of people coming off the street handing in books.
I think that if they're going to do on-site grading, I think they need to make a rule it's only for books that were witnessed at that convention. That way it's short, sweet. You're definitely going to get your book graded. It'll be accurately graded because these guys that bring in, like you said, short boxes full of stuff, you could have sent those in. And a short box full of comics is what? $40 tops to mail in, So, it's not going to be that much more expensive to mail it all in.
Well, I think New York Comic Con, they had 2 booths. One downstairs in Artist Alley and one upstairs on the main floor. They should have had the one downstairs in Artist Alley only take in signature books. You do everything in one place. You sign in, you hand in your books, everything done. The upstairs, let them people coming in, coming off the street with the half boxes or whatever. You're already downstairs and you already got the witness. Why not have everything in one place? It makes it much easier, have the people doing the signatures because they're down there, spending more time getting signed books. Why not you already got a booth there? Why don't you just take care of the people there? Only the people who are signing in Artist Alley, get it over with. Why we have to go upstairs and wait on that long line for it? It makes no sense. Meanwhile, you got a booth downstairs. Why? You got 2, use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called customer service. And you would think that because the majority of us are all the same age, right, or older.
Well, hold on now.
Hey, I resemble that remark, right? But yeah, so you would think that they would say, hey, these are the guys with disposable income. These aren't the kids that, got an allowance from their parents that all they can buy is a couple books. These are guys that got jobs. They can go buy what they want to buy. These are the people I need to be taken care of. And I think, like you said, CGC is complacent because they're up here on the pecking order, and they're like, look, you're going to send your stuff my way, whether I suck or not. So
yeah. I think the best, most effective thing for us to do is to, still use CGC for your bigger books and stuff, but start being okay with CBCS. As far as grading, they're better than CGC as far as their accuracy and grading. As far as their pressing, as of right now, it's shorter, but that's probably because they don't have as many people sending stuff in. But I've never heard of a horror story from CBCS pressing. I have heard multiple horror stories from CCS pressing. And then there's that case. CGC has a better case, but CBCS's isn't bad. It's of the same quality as, I would say, PGX's case. And it's definitely better than EGS's case.
Oh,
so I think we just need to be okay with CBCS, and their newer labels have that shiny outline of the shield, and it's not filled in. They actually look pretty good. I mean, I know their older labels didn't, but I think that's the best thing we can do overall is to get them, put more stuff behind CBCS, get them bigger. They can compete more with CGC, and then CGC will have to do something in order to stay on top.
Yeah, because I'm starting to see that a lot now. You're starting to go on, eBay. You're starting to see on auctions. You're starting to see a lot of CBCS books now graded, because a lot of people are going their way. Either they don't want to deal with CGC because they take it too long, or they, like you said, a better pricing CBCS. But again, like you said, they don't have as much people right now as CGC. So maybe it might change if they get to be just as big as them. We don't know yet. That's farther down the line. Or maybe they'll adapt quicker than CGC. Who knows? But for right now, they're starting to grow, and they're growing pretty fast. So again, it's all right. Some people go this way, some people go that way. At least, but you have a choice. And it looks like CBCS are going to be around for a while.
Yeah. They started in 2014. They've been doing it for 6 years.
Yeah, and they're growing. I'm starting to see a lot more books there. So,
but I've got of all the books I'm going to get signed at the convention. If I've already got them pressed by Erod, and like I said, I've never used them before, so I'm still saying this with a grain of salt. I think, and based on everyone's testimony, they should come back amazing. But I haven't actually had anything done by him yet. So assuming that it's all good, and it should be. If I've already got it pressed, I'm going to use CGC. But if I have to press something and I can't have the time to send it to someone like Erod and then receive it back, I'm going to use CBCS. And if I have to authenticate a signature, I will use CBCS. And I'm okay buying a CBCS slab. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't see any difference as far as, the money. And what little difference there is just on the large average, because most people are going to try and get as much as they can out of the book, whether it's slabbed in, an EGS, PGS, or it doesn't matter.
Right. Well, another thing, Big Will, I mean, it's why are you getting it, right? Are you buying it to resell it? Then maybe pay the extra. But does the extra that it costs for CGC, does that get you more money? Does it get you more money? If it costs $20 more, it needs to at least make you $20 more than what that CBCS or any other label is going to make it. So
I think a lot of people say that it doesn't matter. They get stuff, slabbed, and they don't care about resale. Well, I think that's a mistake. You need to at least acknowledge resale, because what are you going to do when you're dead? Your slabs are either going to be going to your kids or going to the wife or if you're a woman, the husband, or your grandchildren or something. If they like comics, great. But how do you know they're going to like all the same characters and books that you like? You don't. So why not make it easy on them, to resell and get something that they want? Or what if they don't like comics at all? I don't dwell on it, but I'm saying I would, even though you don't care about resale, I would still think about that when you're figuring out how to get them slabbed and stuff, which is why I will probably never use EGS. If they get to growing and become, a viable competitor in the market, then okay, yeah. Based on my own experience and the stories I've heard as well, I'll never use PGX. So I'm either going to be CGC or CBCS. And as of right now, For resale, CGC, but overall, I really don't think it matters between those two. I don't know where I was going with that. Feel free to jump in.
I'm more like once I start collecting something, I stick to it. So I started with CGC, my collection CGC, so I just stick with it. If I do buy a book from CBS, you can always crack it open, send the CGC, get a CGC slab, or the other way around. Doesn't really matter. The book is what the most important thing is. If you want to get a slab in this company, take it out, send it to this company. That's all it is. You crack it, send it to the other company. It's a big deal.
And I will say, CGC has that crossover thing, so it is cheaper for you to buy a book and not crack it. Just send it in the CBC lab to CGC. They'll crack it and they'll grade it, and it'll be cheaper than if you sent the book in for CGC to start with, which is amazing to me.
That's great.
Yeah, so if you really don't want CBCS or PGX or EGS, CGC will well, I don't know if they'll do it for EGS, but for the others, they will grade it at a discount, and they'll even crack it for you.
Well, it kind of makes sense because now you're really, you're getting more business for yourself because now you're saying, hey, you got CBCS graded book. Send it to us. Yeah, we'll give you a discount. We'll crack and we'll slap our CGC label on there. You know what I'm saying? So it looks like there are more of their graded books out there than theirs. And meanwhile, they keep getting more business.
Well, another thing with CGC is that they got the census, right? So you can kind of gauge how many are out there of this certain caliber thing. The other ones just don't have that.
That is one of the things I don't understand about CBCS. CGC put out the census when they were 2 to 3 years old. That's when they released their census data, and they've just been adjusting accordingly ever since. CBCS is 6 years old this year. They have yet to release a census. That's the biggest complaint I have about CBCS is they have yet to release a census. And before anyone comments on that, I just want to say we had Jig's Kingdom pop in. I popped him up. We got John. John's in here. I think I said Rican. We got Purgatory Paul. He's in there. Thanks to everyone watching. I'm really not paying attention to the chat, but I'm trying to a little bit. But this is a great conversation, guys. So
that's what happens when you
think about that. The census thing. The CBCS hadn't released one yet.
Yeah, that so again, it looks like they're, like you said, they're improving on grading the books. I think that was their main goal. I think that's what they're heading into, and then they're worried about their case and everything. But again, they haven't looked at that census yet. Yeah, maybe eventually they should have had it by now, but maybe they will down the line. I don't know. But it's a very great thing to have because you do want to know what's out there. CGC's been doing it for years. We get a count which says, hey, how many books are out there, And you'll be like, oh, okay, hey, there's only a few of these, and wow, maybe you can get more money out of it. Maybe the value goes up because of that information. You never know.
Right.
I was watching the New York Warriors, and they were interviewing Steve Borat or Breck, whatever the crap his name is, the head guy of CBCS, and he said that they are planning to release one soon. Now, in business talk, I don't know what soon means, but hopefully that means sometime this year they will release a census. And we got a great question here from Micah. Who has the best turnaround time? I think it's a battle between PGX and EGS. As far as the big two, it depends on if you're pressing.
Yeah. You pressing the book through CGC, forget it. You ain't coming back.
Well,
regular.
CBCS is the winner if you press, and if you don't press, it's really a toss-up between the two. They're very
from my experience, CGC modern books come back pretty quick.
Right.
Value books, which are the older books, take a little more time. Okay, but definitely the pressing just because it's in a different building and it goes from one building to the other, that takes even longer. But like I said, pressing with CBCS is different. They come back a lot quicker, but that's what happens with CGC that I know.
You guys want to hear something funny? Here's the funny thing. We're talking about how long it's taken CCS to press books. CGC and CCS they're technically two different companies, but they're
Mm-hmm.
in like the same building, or one building's right next door to the other building.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it's taking them forever. CBCS, their pressing is in Clearwater, Florida. Their grading is in Dallas, Texas, and they're still faster.
Wow.
Well, yeah, discounting pressing. So I just recently used PGX as well as CGC. Both of them take the same amount of time. CGC is more responsive on telephone calls and emails than what PGX is. They probably got more people at least doing that. They don't have more people pressing, but they do have more people doing the answers to those phone calls. Just contacted EGS, and they said their turnaround time was 14 days. PGX and CGC were both a month for modern books, and like BLC, like you said, the older stuff took a little bit longer.
Yeah, but those are regular days, because like in CGC, business days. Business days is different from whatever regular days are. When they go business days, you can't count the weekends. That makes it even longer.
But EGS,
business days.
yeah,
Right.
But when EGS says 2 weeks, he means literally 2 weeks, not business days. I'm pretty sure it's just 2 weeks. And again, it's EGS. He has a slightly modified comic skin and a custom label, and then he grades himself. It's one guy grading, and so it's not yet accepted as like CGC is or CBCS. And Kachung had a question here.
Yeah, I'm reading it. Yeah.
Do they guarantee an amount of years the grade is valid? I can imagine books still degrade over 20 years in there. Well, here's the thing about that. As far as paper degrading, if it's taken care of, it can last a while. Like, we still have Gutenberg Bibles from the, I think, 15th century, and you can read them and flip the pages. I mean, it's very fragile, but paper can last a long time if it's in the right situation. But as far as comics, this is the first year where you can have a 20-year-old slab, because slabs wasn't a thing until CGC. CGC started in 2000. This is the first year that you've had a 20-year-old slab. Now, their original slabs, they said every 5 to 7 years you needed to redo them. Their current slabs, they're good for forever with how they seal them and the papers and all that they use. Yeah, they're good for forever. So it would be interesting to see. I actually have an original label CGC book, and I'm going to be cracking it, pressing it, and getting Chris Claremont to sign it at the convention I'm going to. So I'll let you know if the grade does anything crazy, Kachun. But no, they should be fine, because 20 years, I mean, for well taken care of paper, it shouldn't degrade much at all. So I think you'll be okay. I mean,
what would be the difference between the book being, in a grading, besides having it in a short box, because in a plastic bag and everything? How much difference?
Not that much difference. I mean, besides, think about it. I have a 9.8 from the year I was born in Wolverine #1 of the original series. 1972, I think, or 73 is ASM 129, the first appearance of the Punisher. Matt, the boy who has 7, has a 9.8, and that thing's like 40-something years old. So that also kind of tells you too. It depends on how well the book itself's been taken care of, but they, in general, can last a long while. And he also had something else. Yeah. Also, do they warranty their encapsulation that slipped in its cover and it's clearly now damaged? That I don't know. I would definitely send that in or call and ask them yourself, because I don't know. I had a book. Yeah, I had a book that did that. It was X-Men 282. For some reason, the inner well didn't seal, and it was able to shift, and the cover wasn't it's a flimsy cover to begin with. I don't know if you guys know X-Men 282. It's a flimsy cover book. And the cover was shooken off the staples. So I cracked it open, showed it as an example, and ripped the book up and threw it away. So I haven't yet to call. I've had the same problem, Kachin, but I haven't called them and asked them. So I would just do that and see what they say. Let us know. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
really complain about
if you see it shifting or whatever, call them up and says, hey, got a book here that's shifting. Maybe you can get it reslabbed or, something like that. Or because I've had books that they sent me that came cracked, call them up. They say, hey, no problem, send them back, and they reslabbed them, for free. They're pretty good with that. If you tell them you got a problem with it, But CGC, I haven't had an issue with them in that capacity. But this is actually the first time getting a press book, and it's taking forever. So we'll see how that goes. And it's only one book.
And my Wolverine #1 is actually one of those where the inner well has slipped loose, but the book's still good to go. So I've just got it there, and I'm just going to leave it because if you pay attention to your slabs from CGC, that's actually on a lot of them, where you can shake and you can hear the book within the inner well go and slide a little bit.
That's no good.
I don't know why that happens. You would think they would heat seal a little better than that. I don't know.
Well, it might be the size of the book, the way it's cut. Maybe it's a little shorter than or something like that sometimes.
I don't think so, but I don't know at all. So, I mean, who knows? That could be it.
Yeah, that could be one thing. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it might have been done on a Friday, and everybody was ready to go home. Who knows?
Yeah.
And I'm going to East Coast this year, and CGC does not have a booth there, so I have to go through a different type of company to get my books done by CGC. So we'll see how that's going to go. Because last year I went through them, and that was the George Perez signing. And they were taking books in and getting them signed by you. But I went on a Saturday. They didn't even get the books from Friday signed by him. And the line for George Perez was already out the door. And I told the guy, I says, well, I'm not going to give you my book if it ain't going to get signed. He said, well, if you get them signed, you come back, and you do the work yourself, you get a discount. So I said, fine, I'll do it myself. And sure enough, I went over there. I got lucky, got him to sign and hand it in. So
is East Coast the one where Simonson's going to be at BLC?
I don't know if he's going to be there. East Coast is the one in Jersey.
Yeah, I think Walt and Louise Simonson are both going to be there.
Are they? I didn't even look at the list. It's in May. I know it's in May. I'm going to get some books signed by Tom King and Clay Mann.
May the 15th. So that's one of the ones that's on my to-do list. So I'm actually planning on being at that one. And
tell him how many cons you go into by June this year, Geek, because I don't think he's heard.
Well, so I've got 7 to go to starting next week. So I was already one. I was supposed to have been to another one, but that didn't work out. So we got 7 on the slab.
Damn. That 7's way too much for my taste of blood. But I already booked my room for East Coast, so I'm going there. I just started looking for Heroes Con in Charlotte. The next following month. I might do that one because I haven't done that one. I'm gonna try to do different cons I've never been to. So I'm gonna do that one. And I'm off for New York Comic Con this year. So let's see if I can go again. But instead of going for one day, I'm gonna try to go 4 days.
So you got to clarify that, Mr. Unknown Comics guy. Is that a Joker Heath Ledger, or is that a brokeback Heath Ledger? Because if it's a brokeback, we're getting
Is it an alive Heath Ledger?
That's true too. Yeah, that's true too. Just for that, snap him out of existence. Okay, he's going to be. Yeah, so that's my Starlin Infinity Gauntlet here. So
oh, you are asking the wrong people, Kachung. All we know is secondhand knowledge. But to answer the question, the best, from what I've heard, it has the best people. It has almost every year.
Yeah, check their website, and I get an update. You can go on there and click that you want to get updates, Kachun, and they'll send you an update like every time they add somebody onto their list.
Yeah, but as far as from what I've heard, they have some of the best. It's a convention everyone loves going to, and if you have Neil Adams almost every year,
he's definitely there. Yeah, Neil Adams will be on, and I know at least Steranko's going to be there again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Steranko.
Yes, he will be at Heroes Con.
And that right there may be the thing that makes me choose Heroes Con as my next big con next year. If they have Steranko.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, I'll go buy at the standard price an X-Men 50 if Steranko's there just to get him to sign that thing.
Yep, I just got my books back from Baltimore from his signatures. Hopefully I can find some more books and get them signed by him.
Hey, Jigs has something that you need to look at there, BOC.
It is the biggest on the entire East Coast.
It's one of the best on the East Coast.
East Coast is one of the biggest on the East Coast?
Heroes Con.
He says it's one of the best on East Coast.
Yeah, it is. Not too much people. A lot of room. I had a ball. Got some signed books. I had a great time. Parking's free. It was nice. That's why I'm going again. I did have a good time, and I want to do it again. But this time I'm going for the 3 days. I only went for 1 day on that day, so this should be a lot more fun.
Well, so y'all can tell me what y'all think, but what the cons that I've been to, what I like to do is Friday I hit up all my signatures, in which that's a big part of why I do all those cons. Friday I hit the signatures.
I do the same thing.
And nobody's there, right? And so I'm hitting them all up, getting it out of the way.
If the convention has a Friday.
Well, that's true. That's true. And then so Saturday,
it has a Friday.
That's when I start hunting. I go on the hunt Saturday. So they're closer to being closed, and so they'll start dropping some deals. And then Sunday, if I'm there on Sunday, that's when the books that I kind of said I won't, but I think I might could get a better deal, I'll go back on that. If not, I'm usually coming back home on a Sunday just so I can be back to work on Monday. But that's just how I do it. Yeah.
I do the same thing. My is the same way. Go there, signatures Friday, second day, scope it out, look for books. Sunday, the last day, is the best time you will get a deal because they don't want to take the books back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They try to sell it, whatever they can, and that's the way you can wheel and deal, and they'll be like, all right, here you go, trade, whatever it is. The last days that they're like, okay, they try to sell whatever they can.
Right. So, now, just so all you guys know, if they paid $100 for it, you're not going to get them to give it to you for $50. Do what Bill said, but don't get crazy thinking you're going to get an amazing deal like that.
Discount. You're going to get a little break.
Yeah. But if I go to a con like Dragon Con, for example, it's a 5-day convention, but not much other than registration happens on Thursday. So it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I normally will do the signatures, all that I can on Friday. And then Saturday is so crowded, and they don't cap their Saturday passes, which is insane to me. We didn't do much last year, and I don't think we're actually going to go on Saturday this year. We may just skip Saturday completely, and then Sunday and Monday, go and search for deals and stuff. But that's just me assuming. I don't even know who else is going to be there other than Peter David. I mean, it's all the way in September, so I got a little bit of ways to wait and to figure that out. But, man, Saturday at every con is the busiest day. Everyone is there because everyone is there. So if you have enough room to go hunt, great. But just be warned, the day passers will
Mhm.
arrive on Saturday. A few on Sunday. If there's other days of your convention, maybe then. But Saturday is the day of the day passers, and I hate them so much.
Well, I like to get the like in Memphis, for example, they will have a VIP pass, and it allows you to break in line. And so I'll take that. It's not really useful on some of the artists and stuff, but Scott Snyder was there last year, and he was there one day, and it was Saturday, and so it was packed. I mean, an hour before he got there, there was nowhere to stand. I mean, you had to walk all the way around just to go to the booths on the other side of Snyder's table. And so I walked right up there behind one person, got my stuff signed, and left. So just personal preference. Some people, all they like is the con scene. For the books and stuff. I'm a signature guy. I like to, I know who I'm going to get my sketch covers from more than likely. And I'll drop my sketch covers off so that I'll have them. If I'm not going to CGC them, I'll have them before I leave the con too. So
that's another reason why it's good. If you absolutely can't, okay. But if you're going to a convention and you can get off work, go to the entire convention. Mm-hmm. Because there are some perks in doing that. In other words, you have a day to make up for if something doesn't happen the first day you try. And on things like sketches, if they can sometimes get backed up, but if you're there on Friday and you drop your cover off and it goes to like Dragon Con goes to Monday, I was able to drop mine off for Jay Lee on Friday, and I picked it up on Monday, and he had time to do me a nice little sketch, and there wasn't any big deal or any worry. I just walked right up to him. There was no one in line or anything because it was Monday, last day of the con. I'm like, hey, here to pick up my book. He goes, here you go, man. I'm like, thanks. He goes, cool. And that was it.
Well,
my advice for people, like for me, I kicked myself in the butt for not getting books signed back in the days. I could have had some Jack Kirby signatures. I could have had Remedios signatures, but I didn't. And now I'm paying the price for it. So now I'm starting to get some books signed, even though I am getting a couple of older art. I got Chris Claremont, I got George Perez, I got Soranko. So I'm trying to get the older guys as much as I can now, and getting some new guys also. But again, it's just something for myself that I can actually have in my personal collection. I'm not gonna get every single book signed, but it's just something that I should have done a long time ago. I would have had a nice little PC collection with a little different books and everything. So if you're looking to get something signed just for yourself, book 1 or 2 books of different people, which I think is cool, but don't get crazy of getting signatures on every single book, unless you just pick a title that you love and you love the run. And if you want to, hey, because that's what I'm doing with my deceased run right now, that I'm gonna do. Hopefully I can actually do it. That's my goal.
You got to get on the books first, BLC.
Well, I'm getting books. I got over 90 now, so I'm getting there.
You're doing good. But Billy, Economics and Comics, has the entire run of X-Men, like number 1 through wherever it ended, signed.
Wow.
Like he's got it all with Stan Lee when Stan Lee did it. He's got Claremont. He's got some books with like 6 signatures on there from like he went through with artists, then he went and got writers, then he went with inkers, then he went with colorists, and so, yeah, he's got 1 through whatever signed of X-Men.
Wow, that's nice. Yeah. So let me ask Southern Geek, when you go to a con, and you already said, you're gonna get your book signed and you got a book on, is you just your main goal just books, or are you like open option, like to look at action figures and posters, DVD, other things besides comics while you're there?
Yeah, I do look at some other stuff, but I try to refine it to just books. And it's like the sketch stuff. I would like original art, but there's just so much real estate in my office that I can put something out, right? And that's something I would like to look at all the time, but then it's going to take up a certain space in my wall. And that's why I like the sketch covers. and then I can have them slabbed, and I change them out, routinely, and then I don't look at the same one all the time, and I can just continue to rotate it. You can't really do that with posters, or with original art, and so that's just me. And same thing with the figures. I mean, there are some awesome looking figures, and even down to like what some people would refer to as toys that I would like to get, but it's just only so much room for everything, right? So, and my comics are taking, and I've started buying some pops. I see you got a bunch of pops behind you. So
I started late on that too. I kicked myself in the butt for not jumping on that in the beginning.
Well,
so, yeah.
What I've got,
I thought they were the models, or are they pops?
The models are right behind the.
Okay.
The models are right behind.
So you've added pops since you just had the models. You've now added all the pops in front.
Yeah, the pops are in front of the models. I got no place else to put them.
I own one.
So what? I
accidentally won it in a contest.
Well, what I do for my pops though, I only have a handful of them. 8. I got 8 of them. But what I buy them for is if I'm wanting to get something signed by somebody who's not a comic creator. So if it's a signature I want to get versus like some people like, okay, here, sign this or sign this. I try to compress my non-comic related signatures to something like a pop to make it kind of uniform. And so because the pops don't take that much in space, I'm able to put them along my window, my bay window in front of my office. And, and again, talking about space wise, the pops look cool. And so I'm able to get them signed. And so I do buy some pops, but it's only for those ones that I'm planning to get signed.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting carried away with the pops there, but it's more of a certain section collection. Like I have like a group of the He-Man pops, so it's like there's just a bunch of that. And I got 80th anniversary, which is like the first appearance of the character, and in the back of the box it shows like the comic they
Right.
first came in, the first appearance. So I have that, and I just got some Fantastic Four, some Venomized, a little bit, but it's like a certain type group. It's just like I just don't go in and get any pop, just a certain amount that I actually like, collecting, and it has a reason why I pick those pops. But again, when I go to cons, it's mostly for books. I get my signed books out of the way. And it's just comic books. I mean, I see a lot of great stuff, some neon stuff, some nice light stuff, and some action figures, some nice Captain American shield. I mean, there's so much great things. It's just I would love to buy it all, but
Sure.
I gotta go for books. I have to, because I get carried. I'm like a kid in the candy store. Get it? I want it all. Just put it in the paper bag. Let me go.
Yeah, I know, right? That's well, and Big Will is a lot more disciplined. How many books did you say you had in your collection earlier?
In the PC.
In the PC.
In the PC, I have like what I call my personal collection.
Yeah, that you're not going to sell.
20 books. In grand total, I have about a short box, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a lot more disciplined than me, because I got 3,400 comics over there. But
I got 5,000.
Yeah, and it starts taking up a lot of space. I mean, I understand the reasons and the constraints, but you got a Hulk 340, I'm sure, Big Will. So you being a Wolverine fan?
No, I don't.
Really?
That's a Hulk book.
Oh, come on now. That's Wolverine on the cover, a classic cover.
It's a classic, but that's a Hulk book, so it's not a priority. If I were to get one, I'd probably sell it.
Yeah. Well, and I was bringing that up because you mentioned something about Peter David at Dragon Con. He's a really nice guy to talk to. I've gotten several things.
Yeah, he's awesome.
You're talking about 5,000 books taking space. I got 500 graded books. How much space do you think that takes?
500 graded books.
And they're all CGC.
Yeah,
I would love to get to the point where I had 500 graded books, but that would be all I had.
Yeah.
The main title that I have most of them is the X-Men. At least 50, maybe 70 books of X-Men graded.
Yeah, so I'm doing the Uncanny X-Men Volume 1. I'm only 5 comics away from having the whole set. So, yes, I'm doing the first. I'll have the first 10 at least graded. The ones I've gotten that first 10 run, they're already graded now, or I've had them graded since I bought them. But so yeah, I'll do something like that. But and I've got a lot of X-Men that I've bought, like the Days of Future Past and the Phoenix Run and the Death of Thunderbird, things like that are slab. But I don't have that long of a run that are slab.
Most of them are around in 130s, 140s, 150s, and so on, all the way up to like 200 something in there. In that certain run are graded books. Starting, believe, from 144 and up, they're 9.8s. From there, it's mostly 9.4s. So
wow.
Unless you get really older, then it doesn't really matter. 7s are fine with me. I really don't care.
So Jigs.
Yeah,
they're not
500 6 months ago.
Yeah, it hasn't been coming in as much. It's been going up very little because I haven't sent books in because I've been buying a lot of books. If you guys haven't seen, so I haven't been ever had a chance. I've been sending 4 books here, 3 books there.
Yeah,
getting them signed now. So it's like I really don't have the money like I used to. Just to get my books, send them and get them back.
Right.
My thing is, see, I used to have, at one point, I was very stupid with money and everything, and the result is I wound up having to sell all my books.
And that too, me too.
Yeah, so I had to sell all my books. But at one point, I had all the Wolverine series, like all of them. But now, I don't think I'm going to go and try and get the collection. I mean, the full run. I'd rather just have some keys because, I mean, you think about, the resale we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. You think about that, you got number 1, number 8, and number 10, and just about everything else is, a couple bucks max on Wolverine, and it's less than 200 books for his first series. And then also, if you want to get all of his series, he's on like volume 7 is the one that just came out. Mm-hmm. Because they just keep starting and stopping him. So I'm not going to bother getting the run because if I wanted the original run, it's 189 issues, and I could spend less than $500 and probably wind up with the entire run in like a month. Because people sell the whole run a lot because what's in there that has any value? 1, 8, and 10. That's it. So I'm just going to get me 1, 8, and 10 and be done with it. And I love Wolverine. I would love to have them all, but to get them all back, the money and time I'd have to spend versus what they're worth, I mean, I'd rather not. And if I did that, I would want volume 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'd want the Wolverine Origins. I'd want the minis. It's just too much. For a character almost as popular, and some would say at some points more popular than Spider-Man, mm-hmm. He's got a lot of books. Most of them are worthless too. So yeah, I'm now a key collector. No relation to the app. I'm just a key collector pretty much now, and that's it. There's no real point to the getting the full runs. Whoop.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I'm more of I like to get every issue. I like to get the whole set. I'll take the keys in there, and I just take the regular issues. I like that. To me, I'm more of a complete type person. I like to have the full run. I don't know why. Maybe it just looks better. to say, hey, I got 1 through 50. I got 50 through 100. That's just me. That's just the way I am. That's why I'm doing the deceased runs and some Amazing Spider. The X-Men is another thing. But most of my 5,000 books, like I said, when I first started, the main characters, Fantastic Four. You try to get every book, Captain America, Iron Man, X-Men. That's like the complete run. But again, collecting back then was different than now. Not too many variants, maybe an annual, but now it is very hard to do that with so many variants coming out and they're so expensive, $50 for this. It's not worth it. I can't do that.
I have to comment on this. Jigs Kingdom says, and for the record, Wolverine is nowhere close to Spidey. I will have you know, Wizard Magazine did a 100 greatest characters of all time, sir. And the number one spot, the cover character, was Wolverine. Not Spider-Man, not Batman, not Superman. It was Wolverine was the number one greatest comic character. So,
yeah, popular character. I agree. I mean, I would put him up there with the top 10. Spider-Man, Batman is also up there. But again, everybody has different taste, and you get what you like. And they're popular characters. And people buy it up left and right. And I believe Jake is asking me a question if I'm collecting the new Deceased Unkillable that just came out series. I did buy 3 books series, but I really didn't get into it because I'm really focused on this Deceased right now, and it's hard for me to do both. So maybe down the line I will, work on that. It does look very interesting, but I'm really, really focused on this Deceased run that I'm dealing with right now, and I do have books that came in, and I guarantee there's probably some Deceased books in there, and I do have more Deceased books coming in. And I did find another book. I did not have a foil cover, and I believe it was issue number 5, and I thought I was done with number 5. This is the second time it happened to me. Happened to me with number 4, where I thought I was finished. Nope, found another foil cover. Number 5, I found a foil cover, and I thought I was finished. It just keeps adding up. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
So how many left you have to get BLC on that?
It's got to be at least to get the whole run over 130. I would say 135 to get every single book on Deceased. And I'm up to like 90 something, 95, 96, something like that. I'm getting close. But the closer I'm getting is all the lower numbers, and it's getting tougher to find because a lot of them are sold out. And I think I'm gonna have a very hard time trying to find them.
I would just like to state that until I made that mention about Wolverine, we had like 16 viewers. We now have 9. Apparently, I kept my mouth shut. Jigs, I'll give you that. Worldwide, yes, Spidey's key. But one cool thing is worldwide, as far as symbols that are known, the most known is Coca-Cola. Everyone knows that symbol across the world. The next most known symbol is the Superman crest, the S. And I just think that,
I would have thought it would be.
Well, it may have changed since last time I read, but as far as most known symbols, I believe Superman's S is actually the second, only surpassed by Coca-Cola.
Wow. Yeah. I would have thought it would have been McDonald's. McDonald's over the world. They're all over. Everybody knows what McDonald's is. Yeah. Hey.
He even just said McDonald's.
See?
Yeah. But so how many conventions are you going to, BLC, this year?
Okay. I'm already booked for East Coast. That's one. I'm looking into Heroes Con, Charlotte. It looks good right now. I was surprised to find out how much they're charging for a 3-day pass. Only $50. That's ridiculous. And it also states that if you're 18 years or younger, you're free, which is that's insane. That's nuts. I'm like, wow. They have rooms and everything, so I might be going up, but that's a month right after East Coast, so that's kind of pushing it. But I would love to go. Maybe I will go to Heroes Con now. So that's number 2. Number 3, hopefully I am off this year for New York Comic Con. Well, if I go to that, that'll be my 3rd one. But that one's also close to Baltimore, because Baltimore is like 2 weeks or something like that after New York Comic Con. So I'm hopefully I can try to go to Baltimore again. I had fun there also. What I got to say about Baltimore again, it's not as crowded. And if you're looking for comic books, that's a key place to go. They had tons and tons of books. They had a lot of stuff. It's big building, 1 floor, a lot of spacious room and everything, but they got tons of books.
You talking about in Baltimore?
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot of fun.
Baltimore.
He left for Baltimore already? Wow. He went walking? Wow. He can't wait. He went, look, he left already.
Yeah.
Going to Baltimore. That's it, gone.
Good fat stamina to heart.
So
walking.
I had wanted to go to Baltimore, and you were talking about artist signatures, especially some of the older ones, because I could have gotten Lee's signature, and just didn't, right? So Baltimore was the last appearance of the guy Carol Spinney, who did Oscar the Grouch and Big Bird.
Oh, wow.
He was supposed to go to Louisville Comic Con, which is where I went.
Okay.
He canceled. Baltimore was his last appearance. He canceled. So I go to Baltimore Comic Con and I meet his agent, and he said, yeah, he's getting older or whatever, but just send me your stuff and we'll get him to sign it. And I mean, it's no big deal. It's like, great. He dies a week later.
Oh,
so yeah, the guy who was one of the first puppeteers for he was the voice and the puppeteer for Oscar the Grouch. You'll notice that he's not green, because the first season of Sesame Street, he was not green. He was orange, and he was not aesthetically pleasing on the TV, so they changed it. Everybody knows him as green. But so yeah, I bought that with the intent for him to sign it, and I never got to. So yeah, and for me, like I do puppets and that type of stuff, so that's kind of my alley there too. But I conform it to the pops. I had wanted to go to Baltimore, it didn't work out. Was the reason why I brought all that up last year.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good this year because this was my first time, but they were doing the marathon just outside the convention center, so they actually had it pretty much closed off. A lot of police presence, and it's more like a tourist place because you're right next to the bay, and that's like the tourist spot. You get to walk. It was a beautiful day. Friday, Saturday. It did rain on the last day, but it was nice. I enjoyed myself. It's another one to go to, and that's where I actually got my Serenko signed at that con, and so I did have fun. It wasn't that bad. Pretty. They kind of efficiently moved everybody around. Wasn't as crowded, plenty of room, pretty nice venue. But try go to Baltimore. Like I said, I'm gonna try different places. I'm dying to see 2 1 year.
Yeah, me knowing me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Well, I was just saying, knowing me and how I like to get the signatures, I couldn't, knowing there were certain people I wanted to get signed there, I could not get their signature. I couldn't just say, well, I'm just going to get their signature some other time, because I'd feel like I'd missed out if I hadn't got their signature. So that's the thing that scares me kind of about the bigger cons, knowing my personality, because I'd be like just all over the place worrying about that, and I wouldn't have fun at all. At the end of the week, I'd be like wore out and didn't really have a good time. So that's kind of why I like the mid-size or the smaller cons, for that reason.
Well, I went to New York for the first time, and I only went for 1 day, and of course, it was the worst day. I went on a Saturday. I got there like maybe I think 7 in the morning. The line was already down the block around the corner. It was insane right off the bat. From there, you had the run-in. It put it this way, it was the most insane thing I ever went through. But again, if I would have just went there for like 4 days, I wouldn't have been so much in a rush, because I would the first day I would have had my book signed. I wouldn't care. I had time to go other days, but considering I was only going for 1 day, I had to rush to do everything in that 1 day. And it was really difficult because there was so much people. It was the most. I've been to Big Apple Con. Like I said, I went to Baltimore. This was all out, not even close. This was like the most chaotic thing I've ever seen in my life, because you go, because they had more than one entrance. The main entrance was the closest through the security to go through the main entrance of the building to go downstairs. I was at the corner, and from there they had their security, but then you would have to run from there to the main entrance to get in. So people were just darting, knocking people over. People were strolling. I think it was crazy. But once you get inside, then you're in another big line. But again, once I did my book signatures and I walked around, wow, it was so amazing. So many things that I had never seen before. They had big, gigantic video games and everything. It was a lot of fun. But again, to go for one day, it's not worth it, especially on a Saturday. But but to go there more than one day and then take your time, if you're not really doing anything really important to get anything done, then take your time when it's already open. You go through the security, there's no rush at that time because everybody's already inside. Then you go inside and you look around, then you can take your time, you can take it easy. There was auction things going on, auctions for sales art. It was a lot of things. There was a lot of things to do. So I did enjoy myself, even though I did have to wait just because to check out for CGs for 5 hours. That's what took me so long, but it was still a lot of fun. So hopefully this year I can go 4 days so I can enjoy myself, a little better. I think you really got to have more time at those big cons. But the second type of cons, the AAAs, I would say, not the major leagues, those are a whole lot better, stress-free. The lines are totally shorter. You have a better time moving around, and you get just as much good deals as any other con.
Yeah.
Some of the same artists are there. You're still going to get signed books. But it's more family friendly, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the New York Comic Con. Those are the go getters. They got to get the exclusives. They got to get this. If you ain't there, get a ticket number. That's the frantic. Those are the diehards. I
am a big proponent of, if you go into a convention and you can't go but one day, go to a different convention. You go to the full 2 days. If it's a one-day convention, well, they'll obviously go one day. But most conventions are 2 days or more. Go every day. If you can't because of work, okay. But most people can get off at some point in the future, and go more than one day. You will thank me for it. Just listen to what BLC just said. Go all the days that the con is open.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't, at least go more than 2,
mm-hmm.
or more than 1, at least 2.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been
great. For me, that was the only opportunity.
Yeah, this has been a great chat, and I hate to run, but we're about at 2 hours, and so I hear the family in the background. So
that's all right, man. If you got to go, we'll talk to you later, and you have a good one.
All right, y'all as well. Be catching you.
But yeah, well, hey, if there's just 2 of us, that means I can do that.
Yeah, close up. What's up?
Yeah. But
yeah, like I said, I agree. Con should be more than one day, but in my situation, that day was the only opportunity I had to get a ticket, because by then it was already sold out. So, and I never had a chance to go because either I worked on the weekends when it happened, and if I didn't work, I didn't have enough money to go. So I just wanted the opportunity came where I said, hey, here's a ticket for one day. Do you want to go? And I said, you know what? I'm off. Let me go at least one day to go take a look at New York Comic Con. And even though, it's packed and everything, I still had a great time. But again, it's more than a one day thing. You have to go more than one day, and if you're really not a diehard exclusive, getting a ticket for this, that, and everything, go a little later. Don't have to be that early. Go through security, 1, 2, 3, enjoy yourself, go in there and look around, and then go shopping.
And if you do go one day, we both agree, don't go just one day. But if you do go one day, don't go Saturday.
No, don't go Saturday.
You will hate that, because that's the day, even at smaller cons, where you're made to feel frantic and you're going around trying to do everything because guess what? Everybody else says, I'll go Saturday. So all the day passes, it's always Saturday that fills up. Like we had on Saturday, they do a parade for Dragon Con. So what we like to do is, or what we did last year was we got there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Parade starts at 10, but we got there at 8 o'clock just to go and get to the area where the people were signing, you know, and selling the books. And we were in line near the door. So that was great. But once we got in there and after the parade and everything, it just kept getting more crowded and more crowded and more crowded to the point where I had to start and stop and get hit in the shoulder multiple times just walking through the thing because of how many people were in there. And I just watched everyone's badge flash before me. Saturday. Said it was all the Saturday day passers, man. I hate going on Saturdays where it's so crowded. And like Javi just said in the chat, if you're only going to go one day, first off, we don't recommend it. But if you're going to go one day, go Sunday. You'll get better deals. The crowd won't be there. And most of the comic people will still be there. It'll be okay. And how you doing, Jack?
I'm gonna compare my East Coast to New York Comic Con because East Coast I only went for one day because of my schedule, and I only went one day New York Comic Con. New York one day New York Comic, and they were both Saturdays. New York Comic Con was crazy, insane, a lot of people, but East Coast Saturday, totally different. Less line, less pushing, got in there, plenty of room. Access wise, it was still crowded, but not as bad, not even close to New York Comic Con. So even Saturdays at a smaller con, that's why I say go to the AAA type Comic Con, not the major league ones. You'll get the same thing. You're gonna get some great deals, some books, some artists, with less people, less stress, you know, and have. I think you're gonna have a lot better time.
But also remember, you're comparing that Saturday at East Coast to the Saturday at New York.
Right.
If you compare that Saturday at East Coast to the Sunday, it'd probably be like night and day. Saturday would be much worse.
Well, the Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con that just passed last year, even though I went from one day, I've talked to a lot of people that do it every year, okay? And they go, and New York Comic-Con's 4 days. I believe they start on Thursday. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's 4 days. A lot of people used to go on Thursday because why? First day, nobody really there, less crowded to get their things done 1 to 3. This year was totally opposite. They have said Thursday was so insane, it looked like a Saturday. So it's getting worse. People are now going on Thursdays, but again, it used to be a lot easier, a lot less people, not no more, because people are going to Thursdays to get the exclusives, to get their things done, or whatever it is. Now that day is getting packed. Okay, so New York Comic Con, and was, from what I heard, was packed every single day. It was just insane. So, yeah.
And another thing about Sundays, or if your con ends on Monday, is not only do you normally get deals because they're wanting to not pack up everything if they can help it, but you can actually work your way into free stuff. At the Nashville Comic and Horror Convention, me and a buddy of mine, we befriended this dealer. His name was Crazy Ed. You may have heard of him, maybe not. But anyway, Crazy Ed's awesome. And we noticed he had like this brace on his ankle. So, I mean, he was able to walk around and stuff, but it was with a bit of a limp. And on Sunday, right as the con was ending, we walk up to him and we're like, hey, do you need some help? He goes, hey, yeah, I do. So we helped him load his truck, and he paid us in free comics.
Wow, that's great.
So, yeah.
For me, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd be so tired if I was there for those 3 days. I just want to go home and I have to drive. So I'll be too tired. But again, yeah, Sundays is where you wheel and deal. When I was in Baltimore looking around, and that's the best time you say, hey, would you take this? They really agree to, try to make a deal because they really want to sell whatever they can, especially if they had a bad weekend already. If they didn't sell, they're dying to get rid of something. All right. So, again, ask.
If you want to buy a bigger book, try and hold yourself until the last day and the last couple hours of the last day. And if that book is still there, then attempt to get it, because you can get it at the best price possible versus any other time at the convention. So if you want a big book, I would suggest waiting, and most big books will still be there, and try and get it near the end of the convention, because that's where you're going to get the best deal, especially if, like you said, they had a bad weekend. They need that big sale.
Yeah. But again, do your homework. Just because you see a book saying, hey, I dropped the price, you don't think that's really a deal that you want to go for. Because when I was at Baltimore, the guy put up a sign selling a She-Hulk #1, and he said he dropped it from this price to this price, but still that sale price he was selling for was still overpriced for the book. So, I was like, you must know, what you're going to pay for a book. Don't go by what you're saying. Sell, I already dropped the price, blah, blah, blah. No, if that book is still supposed to be lower than what it is.
One great example of that is when the Wolverine, the Hulk 181 facsimile came out.
Yeah,
my shop had a stack of them on the wall for $8. If you walked past that to the shelf, you could buy it for cover price. They still had them out for cover price, but if you didn't go look and you wanted one, they would have charged you $8 from the wall. So, do your research. Wait and see.
Shop around, because go to all the booths. Look around. See what books they have. Go check out, because you might find that same book in a better condition, cheaper at another booth. But you have to. It's a gamble. It's a gamble, though.
It's a gamble.
If you pack it up and you leave and you come back and it's gone, it is what it is.
I am a big fan of, you can't do this with long box hunting, but if you're looking for a book that'll be on a wall, if you're wall book shopping, go to every vendor before buying anything. Look at what they have, look at the prices, then you can narrow it down to one or two vendors and, work between those and figure out a deal. Maybe you can get it, maybe not. But don't just go to the first one, look at the wall book, and buy that one. Make sure you visit. Don't buy anything. Go visit all the booths, check out all the walls. Then you'll have an educated way of thinking about how to get in that wall book that you want.
And also, if you got like if you're getting a book off the wall and it's a graded book, and if you got a graded book on you, you could use that as a trade and as like a little discount incentive, because they can turn around and sell that book also. So if he says, all right, well, how much would you send me that book? And I have this, I would like to trade it in, you work out a deal. Again,
Yeah, I have my Wolverine #1 that I have. It's selling right now for $200. I bought it and graded it and everything together. I'm in it $42 total. It's worth about $150. Right now it's selling for $200. I could take that one book to a convention, most likely, and get $100 worth of trade on the thing. Worst case scenario, get $80 worth of trade. That's double what I paid. They're getting a great deal because they can sell it for $150 to $200, and I'm getting a discount on a book. So yeah, BLC's right. If you got a slab that you don't really care about keeping, if it's any count, you can use it.
Because like I said, they're looking at is they could sell this for whatever they can get out of it. They're gonna sell a book off the wall and they're gonna get cash out of you. Again, it's a mutual type thing. Again, If you see a book, you don't know which dealer might want to take that trade too. So try to hit all three and see which one gives you the better deal.
Yeah.
Again, don't just go to the first guy and says, "Hey, he was take the trade and everything," but the other guy could have given you a better deal, but you don't know.
Yeah, and also don't get a book from home. It's fair market value is 150, and you try and sell it to them for 150. You're not going to sell it. You got to make sure you leave room on the bone. And Jigs here and Javi are mentioning cash. Cash is king. Jigs says, take cash, put it in your socks, put it in your underwear, put it in your
definitely. Cash is king, but that little extra trade might just jig them a little bit more. They'll definitely love the cash. But if you give them that little, that might shake them up a little.
Make sure you have your cards if you got cards. Make sure your PayPal is ready to go, because a lot of people will take PayPal, friends and family. And make sure you have cash. And don't have a wad of cash. Split your cash up. I have cash usually in like a breast pocket, both front pockets, and maybe some weird place. I don't know about my socks like Jigs, but I'll have some cash somewhere else, because you don't want to keep it all in one wad either.
Mm-hmm.
So spread.
Think about it. If you go in there to get a big boy book, okay, you already know how much you want to spend for it originally, so you should have that certain amount of cash ready.
If you don't need to be buying a big boy book yet.
And if you're going to the con more than one day, you could buy one big book, have the cash ready, and then when you go the next day, do it again. Be prepared to go make that deal for the second book. Don't have to be all in one day, but again, you don't want to be sitting there with a big stack of cash come out of your pocket and people are watching you, because there are some, lurkers in there paying attention for people who are not paying attention to what they're looking at or doing.
Yeah.
That there is people out there.
When I said split my money up in different pockets, make sure you know how much is in each area where you put your money. Like, make sure you know how much you have. It's like my granddad called him Papa. My granddad was called Papa. So Papa would always have his bills in the same exact order, like descending order. He had the 20s in the back or the 50s, and then he'd go down to ones, and he would always count to know when he left home what exactly he had in his billfold, and he would make it whenever he paid, he would recount, make sure what he had, so that no matter what, it could be pitch black, dark, the power went off, he can give you exact change.
Yeah, you're right, Josh. Josh got you there.
Okay, I know which pocket.
You gave it away, big boy. Gave it away.
Just try. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh man, that's funny. Oh, yeah. I see Chad RCG's in there, man. He's over there at C2E2, man. I've been watching this video. I think he hurt his back. He had to go rest up, man. He said he bought a lot of stuff, but his back was hurting. So I hope you feel better, Chad.
Yeah. Speaking of big boy books, that guy has the biggest.
Whoa, I tell you, man, that guy could rack it up.
But hey, I am getting ready, man. I've been doing these auctions on my channel, and I've been doing the pop-ups with JB.
Yeah,
the community thing. Well, I'm to the point now where I've got some books. I've got a few things to sell this tomorrow at the pop-up with JB, and then when I'm done with those, I gotta get some books pressed and send some out to get graded. That's what that money is going to go toward. But I'm to the point where once I start getting some of these books back, I'll be selling bigger books. That's why I want to be like Mr. Let when I grow up. I'm going to start moving to the bigger books.
We all want to be like this. And starting at Mr. Let special price $10.
Yeah, that's because he probably paid $40 and he knows it's worth $200, so he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I've got a bunch of books here. Now, this one, this is weird. This book isn't significant, but the reason I'm holding it up is it's signed by Mark Waid.
Mm.
And you can probably see you don't see a signature.
No, I don't
That's
see it.
because whoever got this book, I didn't get this signed. Whoever got this signed opened it up to the title page, which is a few pages into the story, and he got Mark Waid to sign it on the title page. And this Josh, you wanted a preview. This will be $5, and it's signed by Mark Waid. So my question is, when you get a book signed, is it always going to be on the cover, or are there certain books where you would get it signed somewhere else? Like that's a bit odd on that particular book to have him on the title page, but
yeah,
that's just my thinking.
Some artists didn't want to do, to take away, on the cover, the artwork, so a lot of them used to sign the next page over. They used to make their signatures there. Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
Hey, I did the same thing one time. I spent $1,500 on CGC, but mine was because I got like 35 books done.
Yeah.
So something tells me Chad only had a few books done, and that's what his total was.
Damn. There must be some big boy books.
Must be. But yeah.
I know. He had a lot of, well, he does have a lot of books, so maybe it is a lot of books.
Well, what do you personally like to do as far as signatures go? I assume since you're getting them graded, you're doing everything on the cover, right?
Yeah, if they're gonna be graded, you want them on the outside. Of course, you can't see them on the inside. But back in the days, they used to be on the inside. But again, if it depends if there's a spot to put their signatures where it doesn't interfere with anything. Where Saranko loves to do, he puts a signature where it does not affect, if you blank space on the book, that's what he'll sign, which is great. That's what you want, and that's perfect. Then you got some books covered, especially now, modern, you got plenty of room to sign anywhere now these days because everything is so wide open and big. So again, with a CGC, I would like a nice colored signature out front. It look, to me, it's just like it looks like it's popping out. So
yeah,
the
way I do it is if someone wrote the book or they're the artist, I'll do it on the cover because if I'm getting the book signed, like I said earlier, it's because it's going to get slabbed and it's going to get sold, most likely. But if you take a book like DC Comics Presents 26, that's the first appearance of the new Teen Titans. Marv Wolfman wrote the entire book. He wrote the preview of the Teen Titans that's in there, and he also wrote the main story, which is a Superman Green Lantern story. He wrote the whole book. So I had him sign the outside of it. George Perez only did the artwork on the insert that was the Teen Titans preview. He didn't do the artwork on the actual book, the Superman Green Lantern story.
Yeah.
So I had the book opened to the first page of the Titans story, and that's where I had George Perez sign. So when I got it slabbed, it said signed by Marv Wolfman and signed by George Perez on like 14th page.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't want him to sign the cover since he didn't do the artwork on the cover, and the main story, which is on the cover, he didn't do the artwork for that either.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, that would make sense if you want it that way, But if I was getting a double signed by the artist and a writer, again, if there's space on the front cover, which these days these modern books they are, and just put them on the outside, So this way, again, get graded, you can see them. I mean, a lot of these people that sign really get into it. They get a nice signature. They use a nice color pen that blends in with the cover. Some of them have like different color pens on there, but some people just don't care, or they just have an ugly looking signature. But it is what it is. If you want at least one book in your collection with the signature, there's nothing really much you can do.
Yeah, and I don't think we have time for me to get on a rant about the green label versus the blue label. J Hood just mentioned You get a blue label if it's signed on the inside with CGC.
Yeah.
I have a rant about that. I will. We're not going to get into that today. But yeah, I do not like.
Because I gotta work tomorrow. I actually work this whole weekend, so.
Yeah, but I do not like CGC's green label. So, well, if you got to work, man, what do you say we just end this thing? We've been going 2 hours and almost 15 minutes, man.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, I actually have to get ready because I have to get up at 2:30 in the morning to go to work.
Dude, what are you doing up? It's 8:19 where you're at. You gotta get up at 2:30. You're not leaving much to sleep.
Yeah, I gotta get ready, get some sleep because I gotta get up at 2:30 to drive back to New York and go to work.
What the crap does that mean, Chad?
I have no idea. Slip disc? I don't know. Maybe flip this back.
Slippy.
Slip. All right. I see. I have a best friend now. I see Josh says he applied to be a CGC witness today. All right, Josh.
Oh,
best friend.
He slipped the CGC $50. Told him to hook me up.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I think you just lost $50 extra, Chad.
Wow.
But anyway, thanks everybody for watching. We had 16 at the most. We got about 8 people doing now. Thank you to Southern Comic Geek. It's because of him that it's titled Southern Comic Talk. Even though BLC ain't really much Southern, but thanks for joining us. Do you have who's doing the auction tomorrow?
That would be Keep It Thorough, 7 o'clock Eastern time on his channel. So go check it out. Again, I'm working this weekend. I got stuff here been coming in like crazy, but I have not had a chance to do a live video. So I got a lot of unpacking, definitely next week. So keep an eye out for that.
And JB Discovery Bay Comics tomorrow morning, 12 p.m. Eastern, is the community pop-up shop. I'll be one of the guys in that. Thank you to Jigs, Chad, Javi, Josh, J Hood, Kachung, other people whose name I don't remember. Thanks for being here.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody. We will see you guys later.